Continuing with the meditations by Marcus Aurelius, book three, um, written and written at Carentum, man must consider not only that each day, a part of his life, is spent, and that less and less remains to him, but also that even if he live longer, it is very uncertain whether his intelligence will suffice as before for understanding of his affairs and for grasping the knowledge which aims at comprehending things human and divine. When dotage begin, breath, nourishment, fancy, impulse, and so forth will not fail him, but self-command, accurate appreciation of duty, a power to scrutinize what strikes his senses, or even to decide whether he should take his departure, all powers indeed which demand a well-trained understanding must be extinguished in him. Let him be up and doing then, not only because that comes nearer each day, but because understanding and intelligence often leave us before we die. Observe what grace and charm appear even in the accidents that accompany nature's work. Thus, some parts of a loaf crack and burst in the baking, and this cracking, though in a manner contrary to the design of the baker, looks well and invites the appetite. Figs too gape when the uh, gape when they ripest, and the ripe olives, the very approach to rotting, adds a special beauty to the fruit. The droop of ears of corn and bent burrows of line and form at a bow's mouth, and many other things are far from comely in themselves, yet since they accompany the works of the nature, they make a part part of her adornment and rejoice the beholder. Thus, if a man be sensitive to such things and have more than common penetration into the constitution of the whole, scarce anything connected with nature will fail to give him pleasure as he comes to understand it. Such a man will contemplate in the real world the fiercest joy of wild beasts with no less delight than when sculptors or painters set forth for him their presentments. With like pleasure will his chaste eyes behold the maturity and the grace of old age in man or woman, and inviting charms of the youth. Many such things will strike him, things not credible to many, but which come to him alone, who is truly familiar with the works of the nature and near to her own heart. Hippocrates, who had healed many diseases, himself fell sick and died, and Claydence foretold the fatal hours of multitudes, and afterwards fate carried them away. Alexander, Pompey, and Gaius Caesar, uh, who so often raged through cities and cut off in a battle so many myriads of horses and foot, at last departed from this life themselves. Herculitus, after his many speculations on the conflagration of the world, died swollen with the water and pleasured with cow dung. Vermin destroyed Democritus. Socrates was killed by vermin of another sort. What of all this? You have gone abroad, made your voyage, come to the harbor, disembark. If into another life there will God be also. If into nothingness, at least you will have done with bearing pain and pleasure, and with your slavery to the vessel so much meaner than its slave. For the soul is intelligent and deity, the body dust and corruption. Waste not what remains of the life in consideration about the others. When it makes not for the common good, be sure you are neglecting other work. If you are busy yourself with what such a one is doing and why, with what he is saying, thinking, and scheming, all such things do not divert you from the steadfast guardianship of your own soul. It behoves you then in every train of the thought to shun all that is aimless or useless, or above all everything officious and malignant. Accustom yourself so, only so, to think that if anyone were suddenly to ask you of what you are thinking now, you could answer frankly and at once of so and so. Then it will plainly appear that you are all simplicity and kindliness as befits a social being who takes little thought for enjoyment or any phantom pleasure, who spurns con- conscientiousness, envy, and suspicion, or any passion. The harboring of such one would blush to on for such a man who has finally determined to be among the best is, as it were, a priest and minister of the gods, usually the spirit within him, which preserves a man unspotted from pleasures, unwounded by any pain, inaccessible to all insult, innocent of all evil, a champion in the noblest of all contests, the contest for the victory over every passion. He is penetrated with justice. He welcomes with all heart whatever befalls or is appointed by providence. He troubles not often or ever without pressing public need to consider what another may say or do or design, solely intent upon his own conduct, ever mindfully of his own concurrent part in the destiny of the universe. He orders his conduct well, persuaded with his part is good, for the lot appointed to every man is a part of the law of all things as well as the law for him. He forgets not that all rational beings are akin, and that the love of all mankind is a part of the nature of man. Also, that we must not think as all men think, but only as those who live a life accordant with the nature. As for those who live otherwise, he remembers always how they act at home and abroad by night and by day, and how and with whom they are found in company, and so he cannot esteem the praise of such, for they enjoy not their own approbation. In action, be neither grudging, nor selfish, nor ill-advised, nor constrained. Let your let your thought be adorned with overmuch nicety, nicety, nicety. Be not a babbler or a busybody. Let the God within direct you as a manly being, as an elder, a statesman, a Roman, and a ruler, standing prepared like one who waits the recall from life in marching order, requiring neither an oath nor the testimony of any man, and within be cheerful and dependent of assistance and the peace that comes from others. For it is a man's duty to stand upright, self-supporting, not supported. If in the life of a man you find anything better than justice, truth, sobriety, manliness, and in some anything better than the satisfaction of your soul with itself, in what wherein it is given to you to follow right reason, and with faith that in that which is determined beyond your control. If I say you find anything better than this, then turn thereto with all your heart and enjoy it as the best that is to be found. But if nothing seems to you better than the divinity seated within you, which has conquered all your impulses, which sifts all your thoughts, which, as Socrates says, has detached itself from the promptings of senses and devoted itself to God and to the love of mankind, if you find every other thing small and worthless compared with this, see that you give place to no other which might turn, divert, distract you from holding the high esteem the good which is specially and properly your own. For it is not permitted to us to substitute for that which is good in reason or in fact anything not agreeable thereto, such as the praise of the many, power, riches, or the pursuit of the pleasure. All these things may seem admissible for the moment, but presently they get the upper hand and lead us astray. But do you, I say frankly and freely, choose the best and keep it to it. The best is what is for your advantage. If you know you choose what is for your spiritual advantage, hold it fast. If what is for your bodily advantage, admit that it is so chosen and keep your choice with all the modesty. Only see that you make a such discrimination. Never esteem anything of advantage which will oblige you to break your faith or to desert your honor, to hate, to suspect, or to execute any man, to play a part or to set your mind on anything that needs to be hidden by wall or curtain. He who, he who to all things prefers the soul, the divinity within him, and the sacred cult of its virtues. Make no tragic ground or gesture. He needs neither solitude nor a crowd or spectre. And the best of all, he will live neither seeking nor shunning death. Whether the soul shall use its surrounding body for a longer or a shorter space is to him indifferent. Were he to depart this moment, he would go as deadly as he would do any other seemingly improper action, holding one thing only in lifelong avoidance, to find his soul in such any case unbefitting an intelligent social being. In the soul of the chastened and the purified you would you would find nothing betrayed, foul, or festering. Fate does not cut off his life before its proper end, as one would say of an actor who left the stage before his part was ended or he had reached his appointed exit. There remains nothing servile or affected, nothing too conventional or too exclusive, nothing that fears censors or courts concealment. Hold in the owner the faculty which forms opinions. It depends on the faculty alone that no opinion your soul entertains be inconsistent with the nature and the constitution of rational being. It ensures that we form no rash judgment, that we are kindly to men and obedient to the gods. Cast from your Cast from you then all other things, retaining these few. Remember also that every man lives only this present moment, which is fleeting, instant. The rest of the time is either spent or quite unknown. Short is the time which each of us has to live, and small the corner of the earth he has to live in. Short is the longest posthumous fame, and this preserved thought through a succession of poor mortals, soon themselves to die, men who knew not themselves, far less those who died long ago. To these maxims and the others accurately define or describe everything that strikes your imagination so that you may see that distinguish what it is in the naked essence and what it is in its entirety, that you may tell yourself the proper name of the thing itself and the names of the parts of which it is compounded and into which it will be resolved. Nothing makes mind greater than the power to inquire into all things that present themselves in life, and while you examine them, to consider at the same time of what fashion is the universe and what is the function in it of these things, of what importance they are to the whole, or of what to man who is a citizen of that highest city of which all other cities are but household. Consider what is this thing that now makes an impression on you, of what it is composed and how long it is destined to endure. Consider also for what virtues it calls, whether it be gentleness, courage, truthfulness, fidelity, simplicity, independence, or another. Say therefore of each event, this comes from God, or this comes from the conjunction and interjection of the strands of fate, or from some chance or hazard of that kind, or this comes from one of my own tribe, from my kinship, from my friend. He is indeed ignorant of what accords with nature, but I am not, and will therefore use him kindly and justly according to the nature and the social law. As to things indifferent, I strive to appraise them at their proper value. If you discourage your present beauty with form and zealous, yet kindly observe the laws of the reasons. If you regard no by gains, but keep pure within your immortal past part, as if obliged as if obliged to restore it at once to him who gave it. If you hold to this with no further desires of aversions, and be content with the natural discharge of your present task, and with the heroic sincerity of all you say or utter, you will live well, and herein no man can hinder you. As surgeons have ever have, as surgeons have ever their knives and instrument in hand for the sudden emergencies of their art, so do keep your ready. So do keep so do you keep ready the principle requisite for understanding things divine and human, and doing for doing all things, even the least important, in the remembrance of the bond between the two. For in neglecting this, you will scan the duty both to gods and men. Cease your wandering For you are not like a, you are for you are not like to read again your own memoirs and the deeds of ancient Greeks and Romans, or those collections from the writings of the others that you laid up for your old age. Hasten then to your proper end, fling away vain hopes, and if you have any care for yourself, fly to your fly to your own skirt while yet you may. Men understand not all that is signified by the words to steal, to sow, to buy, to rest, to see what it is to be done, for it is not the bodily eye but another sort of sight that must discover these things. We have body, soul, intelligence to the body, belong the senses to the soul, the passions to the intelligence principles, to be affected by the imagery imagery of the senses belongs to the beast of the field no less than to us. To be swayed by guts of passion is common to us with the wild beast, with the most effeminate wretches, with Nero and the Clarices. Moreover, the possession of the mind to guide us to what seems fitting is shared by us with atheists, with traitors to the country, and with such as shut their doors and sin. If then all the rest is common, as we have seen, there remains to the God, man, his special excellence to welcome with pleasure all that happens or is ordained, not to defile the divinity enthroned in his breast, not to perturb, perturb, perturb it with a crowd of images, but to preserve it in tranquility and obey it as a God, to observe the truth in all he says and justice in his every action, and though others may not believe that he lives thus in simplicity, modesty, and contentment, he neither take this unbelief amiss from any one, nor quits the road which leads to the true end of life, at which he ought to arrive pure, calm, ready to take his departure and accommodate it without compulsion to his fate.